Hey y'all, and welcome back to my Help Wanted 2 theories. Today I'm doing a deep dive into my Help Wanted 2 timeline. I first introduced it in my Candy Cadet video as a bonus, but I want to go over every minigame and why I put each one in its spot. I have also revised the timeline so it is different from the original, but there weren't that many changes. Before I get any further into this, I want to establish that I believe every Help Wanted 2 minigame is an actual event. Minigames such as Salon Roxy Repair have to be actual events since they establish important details, and rather than trying to pick and choose which of the rest of the minigames are real and which ones aren't, it's easier to say all of them are real and go from there. Also, you may want to check out my other Help Wanted 2 theory videos as I will be referencing many of them throughout the rest of this video. One more thing, I'll be referring to the Help Wanted 2 player character as Carlos. That's not his real name, that's just what I call him. So my timeline currently goes like this. From Help Wanted 1 to Security Breach, the order is Endo Warehouse, DJ Music Time Beginner, DJ Music Time Advanced, Salon Staff Makeover, Salon Roxy Makeover, First Aid Pig Patch, Fizzy Faz Night 1, First Aid Lefty, Fizzy Faz Night 2, First Aid Scrap Baby, Fizzy Faz Night 3, Arts and Crafts Daycare, Fizzy Faz Night 4, Cold Storage, Food Prep L Chips, Fizzy Faz Night 5, and Food Prep Pizza. Between Security Breach and Ruin, the order is Food Prep Fazbear Theater, DJ Music Time Pro, Salon Roxy Repair, Bonnie Bowl, Bunkabon, Ballora Gallery, Breaker Room, Fazerblast, Fazerblast Western, Fazerblast FNAF 1, Fazerblast FNAF 2, Carousel, Cinder Carousel, Captain Foxy's Log Ride, Fazerblast FNAF 3, Arts and Crafts Loft, Office Private Room, Office Puppet Master, Office Funtime Gang, Office Job Interview, Bunkabon Bonus Round, Breaker Room Hard Reset, and Princess Quest 4. Now let's go over each one. Endo Warehouse. This level appears to be in a baby Pizza-plex since you are training baby robots. Also, Dread Unit says,
and become the next Freddy, Chica, or TBD Pizza-plex star.
TBD means to be determined, which means that at this point in time, Fazbear Entertainment hadn't yet decided the other animatronics, which means the level has to be extremely early on. DJ Music Time Beginner and Advanced. These two minigames could really happen at any time between Help Wanted 1 and Security Breach because there are no details that place them closer to Help Wanted, closer to Security Breach, or in the middle. But I gave them this early on position because I needed something in between Endo Warehouse and the Salon levels. Salon Staff Makeover and Salon Roxy Makeover. Staff Makeover has to happen a while before Security Breach because the backstage of the Fazbear Theater is in great working condition, while in Security Breach the place is a mess and is used for storage instead of costuming. However, it can't happen too early on because of some details in Roxy Makeover. Staff Makeover ends with
report to the hand drops a log for your next shift.
So Roxy Makeover comes next. The detail I mentioned before is that Roxy Makeover has a row of smashed mirrors behind you, which means that the Mimic 1 code has to be starting to take over Roxy. The backstage of the Fazbear Theater appearing in good condition has the first two Salon levels happening closer to Help Wanted, and the Smash Mirrors have the first two closer to Security Breach, which evens out to put these two levels right in the middle of Help Wanted 1 and Security Breach. The First Aid levels. I'll be honest, I have no clue what to do with these three levels. The only thing I know is that they have to happen before Fazerblast in order to match up with my theory that Black Dude becomes the Carney. Otherwise, I have no clue where these three levels could go. So I took a wild guess and put them before and in between the Fizzy Faz nights. And there is a reason why I have levels in between each Fizzy Faz night. All 5 Fizzy Faz nights. Behind your workstation in these levels is a desk with a technician's tools. To me, it seemed like Carlos, a technician, came to work on Fizzy Faz right after working on something else. Because of this, I put a minigame in between each Fizzy Faz night. I also have the Fizzy Faz levels closer to Security Breach because of the abundance of Nightmare on staff bots and Glam Chica's Appetite Aggression, which are both things that appear closer to Security Breach. Arts and Crafts Daycare. Its exact placement is due to me needing another minigame in between Fizzy Faz Night 3 and Fizzy Faz Night 4, but otherwise I have it close to Security Breach because of Sun and Moon being in the daycare. Moon didn't start off as the terror of the daycare. He and Sun used to be performers in the Fazbear Theater, but because they are now the daycare attendant, that means 3 things. 1, the Fazbear Theater had to have been shut down and turned into storage and the staff bot show you see in Security Breach. 2, the minigame happens after Salon Staff Makeover. 3, the minigame is closer to Security Breach. Cold Storage. Jimmy is the important detail here. The minigame is centered around getting Jimmy's birthday cake out of Freddy's chest cavity, but it's not the only place the name Jimmy appears. In Security Breach, there are numerous notes scattered about that say, "Remember Jimmy." Sure, there could be another Jimmy, but since we have only been introduced to the Jimmy in Cold Storage, I assume that's the Jimmy these notes are referencing. Which means Cold Storage has to happen almost right before Security Breach does. Otherwise, those notes would probably be long gone. Food prep L chips. The clues here are in the environment. You can see out of the sliding door of L chips to the main atrium the Pizza-plex, and it exactly matches the Pizza-plex we see in Security Breach. Since we know the Pizza-plex has gone through numerous changes, this is important. The environment matching puts L chips almost right before Security Breach. Food prep pizza. I have this one right before Security Breach for 2 reasons. 1, it has to be after food prep L chips, as L chips ends with a report to blank for your next shift message. I'd show what I mean, but this minigame is incredibly glitchy for me and hard to get through, so just take my word for it. Since L chips is very close to Security Breach, so is pizza. 2, Glam Chica's behavior is identical to her behavior in Security Breach, much like in the Fizzy Faz levels. She's aggressive over food and attacks the staff bots over it, like she does in Security Breach. She's also incredibly dirty, similar to her Security Breach version and her version in Fizzy Faz, which puts the minigame close to Security Breach and close to the Fizzy Faz Nights. Now, of course, Security Breach happens. Food prep Fazbear Theater. This one happens right after Security Breach, and I have multiple reasons for it. Once again, the food prep levels happen in shifts, which means they happen close together. 2, Shattered Chica. She can only exist after Security Breach, and her design is the exact same as Shattered Chica in Security Breach. We know from Help 1 and 2 Shattered Roxy that the shattered animatronics changed over time into their ruined forms. So Help 1 and 2 Shattered Chica, being the same as Security Breach Shattered Chica, means that little time has passed between Security Breach and Pizza. 3, the Pizza-plex itself has not yet been destroyed, which further backs that very little time has passed between Security Breach and Pizza. There is a big time jump now. The Pizza-plex building got destroyed, the animatronics got more withered down, and Circus Baby's entertainment and rental started getting rebuilt. DJ Music Time Pro. Much like the other DJ Music Time levels, this one has a lot of wiggle room on where it could go on the timeline between Security Breach and Ruin. And again, I put it towards the front so that I could have something before the next Salon level. Salon Roxy Repair. This one has to happen a while after Security Breach, as the Pizza-plex building has now been destroyed, and Roxy's design is halfway between Shattered Roxy and Ruined Roxy. It also has to happen before the sister location levels, as, for whatever reason, several parts of Ballora are accessories you can put on Roxy, which means Ballora, and therefore Circus Baby's entertainment and rental, must have been in the middle of getting rebuilt at the time of Roxy Repair. Bonnie Bowl, Bonkabon, Ballora Gallery, and Breaker Room. I have these 4 levels grouped together for several reasons. Number 1, Bonnie Bowl having to take place after Security Breach because of its ruined environment. Number 2, not yet ruined Moon appearing in Bonnie Bowl, which means the level has to happen before Moon gets destroyed. Number 3, a Bonkabon poster in Bonnie Bowl, which is placed by an unused door that I assume leads directly to Bonkabon and therefore Circus Baby's entertainment and rental. Number 4, the lights going out while playing Bonkabon. Number 5, Ballora's Gallery being the path to the Breaker Room. Number 6, the Breaker Room level ending with "This completes your task for the night." I think these 4 levels all happen on the same night, so now let me explain how I think it went down. Carlos started his shift with testing how Bonnie Bowl is running. After he was done there, he went to test out Bonkabon. While playing Bonkabon, Plush Baby shows up and the lights go out. It's Carlos's job to turn the lights back on, so he has to crawl through Ballora Gallery in order to reach the Breaker Room to turn the lights back on. Once he's done with that, his shift is over and we can move on to the next minigames. Fazerblast to Fazerblast FNAF 2. These 4 happen next because they lead to the destruction of Moon, who is not destroyed in Bonnie Bowl, but who is destroyed in the rest of the minigames. I think these Fazerblast levels also happen on the same night, or at least on consecutive nights. They have to happen close together because they appear to happen in a fall fest, and festivals don't tend to last long. An important detail from these levels is the fire that happens in Fazerblast FNAF 2 if you do the right steps, and also the environment surrounding the Fazerblast booth. Carousel and Cinder Carousel. These 2 minigames happen on the same night as Fazerblast FNAF 2. I covered all of this in my Lefty, Carney, Ruin Moon, and Jack and Moon video, but I'll give a brief recap. The environment surrounding the carousel is the same environment surrounding the Fazerblast booth, meaning that they must happen at about the same time. The fire at the end of Fazerblast FNAF 2 is the same fire as the one that happens at the end of the carousel, which means Carousel and Fazerblast FNAF 2 have to happen on the same night. In Cinder Carousel, the place is still on fire, which means very little time had to have passed between Carousel and Cinder Carousel. I imagine that Carlos was playing Fazerblast, the booth caught on fire, Carlos had to leave, both because of the fire and because he had to do work on the carousel. The fire spread to the carousel and ruined the work Carlos just did, so he tried to fix it again. The carousel fire also created Jack-a-Moon, and Jack-a-Moon would eventually turn into Ruin Moon, which means minigames with Jack-a-Moon and Ruin Moon can now happen. Captain Foxy's Log Ride. This one has to happen close to Cinder Carousel, considering Jack-a-Moon is still on fire. It's pretty much just Jack and Moon's appearance that places this minigame, but the appearance of a very similar type of environment we see in Ruin also places this minigame closer to Ruin. Phase Blast FNAF 3. This one has to happen a little while after Phase Blast FNAF 2 since the fire has burned out and all that's left is rubble, and the ever-annoying plush baby. Arts and Crafts Loft. This one has to happen a little while after the carousel levels because Ruin Moon now exists, and he exists because of the carousel fire. Phase Blast FNAF 3 and Arts and Crafts Loft can be flip-flopped as they both just have to happen a little while after the Phase Blast and carousel fire. Office Private Room, Puppet Master, and Funtime Gang. I debated putting these right after the Breaker Room because there's a Glam Rock Freddy themed cup that appears in the office levels that's also in Bonnie Bowl. However, since said cup is also in Job Interview, which definitely happens close to Ruin, I decided to put these towards the end. These three happen after Security Breach because of a detail I noticed. Piles of dirty paper and cardboard. Those same pile assets appear in other minigames that take place after Security Breach, such as DJ Music Time Pro, which leads me to believe any minigame featuring them must take place after Security Breach. Office Job Interview, Bunkabon Bonus Round, Breaker Room Hard Reset, and Princess Quest 4. Another group of minigames I think happen in the same night. Here are the details I noticed that made me put them together. 1. Office Job Interview's clock starts at 12 AM, and it stays at 12 AM throughout the level. 2. The computer in the main hub of Help 1 and 2 is also always at 12 AM, which made me think events that happen in the main hub, aka the two endings, happen at almost the same time as Office Job Interview. 3. The lights are out the entire level in Office Job Interview and Bunkabon Bonus Round, which made me think they could happen at almost the same time since the lights are not out in any of the other final levels. 4. Breaker Room Hard Reset turns the lights back on. 5. Bunkabon Bonus Round has the Bonnie memory plush. Now let me explain how I think it all went down. Carlos shows up to work to get the final memory plush, but he has to stop by the office first, where he finds the lights have gone out. He has his interaction with Circus Baby and the plush babies, and moves on to get the final memory plush from Bunkabon. Once he has the final memory plush, he goes to the break room to turn the lights back on so that he can complete his mission. He does all of this within the hour of 12 AM. When he returns to the pizza place, he's greeted by the Nightmare-owned staff bots. Carlos dies and possesses the Princess Quest princess, carrying out his final task of putting all the memory plushes together and helping Vanny destroy Glitchtrap. So yeah, there's my deep dive into my Help 1 and 2 timeline. I hope you guys can make sense of my thought processes, and I hope you like my timeline. See you next time!